But can you read the show notes? Ooh, that light.
I'm a professional, I don't need show notes.
Hello, and welcome to The Knit Girls with Amyflorence. This is episode 431. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les.
I'm Amy, also known as amyflorence, or other derogatory names.
We refer to her primarily as Lady Amy. She's been visiting with us the past week.
You're also Stranded Dyeworks.
Oh yeah.
Yes, there's that.
I've had a week off, I've completely forgotten.
Work, who needs it? Yeah, we've all been off work this past week. It's been nice. Except me, I got sick. I'm on the tail end of it, so I can talk, which is positive, but I haven't gotten quite as much Amy time as I would like.
Aw.
That's okay.
I'll be back.
I'll be back and you'll be sorry.
That's it. She's not going to get that either.
Is that another 80s reference?
No, Empire Records is totally...
Well, 90s.
90s.
Yeah. But the culture doesn't always make it across the pond.
No, we're using that
I
as
say
excuse.
culture very loosely.
loose term.
The pop culture, maybe, is a better...
We should watch Empire Records.
It's a great movie.
It is very
Oh,
quotable.
Rexy, you're so sexy.
And Rex Manning Day is coming up soon.
What? I have no idea what's happening.
Such a great... You don't get to judge my art.
No, I'm not judging. If that's a quote,
That is a quote. Sorry, we should probably stop now.
Stop talking in quotes of things I've never heard of.
Although she is pretty well versed on RuPaul.
I'm an expert on
After
RuPaul
this week.
now.
We've been watching a lot of Drag Race.
Yes.
We watched part of the new season of Queer Eye.
Which is so amazing.
We watched Nailed It.
Yes.
What else did we watch? Oh, My
Cats
Cat
from
from
Hell.
Hell.
From
Yeah.
Hell. Most of what we sort of gathered from that was that if you're in a relationship and you're on this show, your relationship probably isn't a great one.
You should probably leave.
With your cat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And playing with your cat and giving them, catifying your house, giving them perches, pretty much solves everything.
And being a catification partner is my new go-to job.
That's a
cat.
job.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually a knitting show most of the time. Would you like to go? Start from that end?
Sure.
This blows me away.
Why does it blow you away?
Because
I've been off for a week.
The only part of this that people have seen is the swatch and the whole drama of me not understanding that you were pairing a mostly solid with a variegated to stripe.
Uh-huh.
And now it's like 75% of a finished sweater.
Almost. Well, it's missing sleeves, and it looks terrible because I'm in the middle of a row. I'm doing the neckband before I do the sleeves.
It's a whole collar, like, all the way.
Yep, so it's kind of squished on the needles. That's the front. So this is the,
Curtain call?
Curtain Call, yep, sweater, and I'm knitting it out of 3 different colors of Miss Babs Yowza. So there's, this light blue, and I have no idea what the numbers are, or the colors, but they were all one-of-a-kind Babettes.
Is
So
that
that would
blue
be
or
helpful.
green?
It's like a robin's egg blue.
I think there's something wrong with my eyes, because I see green.
Okay. And then there's like a dark variegated.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a bluish gray. It's mostly gray. So, I definitely have enough yarn of the bluish gray. Here, I'll show you in the balls. To finish the collar, which is 6 inches deep. And then the sleeves also, like, are 6 inches of this color. And then the rest is striped. I'm a little bit worried about the striping on the sleeves. I wanted to save around 100 grams for that. But I actually only have around 60 grams left. So I'm going to divide that into 2 cakes of 30, and we're going to stripe as long as we can go. And then after that, I'll make some decisions. I did mess up the top part. I thought it said to do 8 more repeats of the pattern, and it was 8 total repeats of the pattern. So the sleeves are a little bit more bat-wingy than what I was
just have
intended.
a deeper armhole.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a little bit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like 6 more stitches. The arms are a little bit wider, and the front's a little bit wider as well, but only by a few stitches.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna knit the sleeves. Actually, the cardigan itself is super drapey at the gauge that it's knit at. But because the sleeves are already oversized, I'm going to knit those on a smaller size needle. So the cardigan body was knit on 7s. The collar is being knit on 6. I really like the fabric that I'm getting on the 6s. I kind of wish I knit the whole thing on the 6s. And then I'm going to do the sleeves on the 6s.
Do you think that'll cause an issue with...
Like puckering?
Yeah, with it being kind of balloony here at the shoulder. And
I don't know. We're going to... I mean, I can always rip back a sleeve if I get a little bit farther down.
Yeah.
But it is quite large. So, we'll see.
You can always try it on once you get the collar done and decide from there, too.
Yeah. Definitely. And I'm picking up, like, the stitches. I bound off less... Well, let me think. I cast on less stitches at the bottom of the armhole because I had increased there. So I cast on 2 less stitches there, too. So that might help a little bit as well. We'll see. The cool thing about top-down raglans is you can pretty much try them on as you go if you don't have them all scooched up on the needles. So that curtain call's the first thing on my needles. And I'm going to get that done probably by the 25th, I think, is when I need to get that done for House Cup. And the other things on my needles are right here. So I have in this pigeon bag by Fat Squirrel Fibers, I have the wristers that I was working on. It's kind of a made-up pattern, but it's based on the Pearl Soho stockinette hand warmers. So the first one is done. And this yarn is Yarn Fairy and the Pixies in the Purple Rust colorway. I'm sorry, I'm sitting farther away from the camera today. We had to move it back so that we could fit Amy in. It was very important.
It's very traumatizing for
Yeah.
very far away from the camera.
Always. And then the second one, we went to Main Event in Memphis for Kobe's birthday, which is like a Dave & Buster's for kids. It's got laser tag and bowling and gravity ropes and a lot of like arcade games. So we hung out there. So I've got this one done except for 4 rounds of garter that I need to finish up. And that'll be done. And then the last thing that I'm working on, and that's on purple signature needles in the size 4. And it's a sport weight yarn. Is in my unicorn Fat Squirrel bag. This is her Socks Plus, I think she calls them. This is the non-Euclidean socks in Desert Vista Dyeworks in the Martian colorway. So I'm knitting a top-down sock because I don't know who I am today. But I started this like a week ago. I think probably at work, and then have made a little bit of progress. This is my first of 2 socks that I have to get done by the end of the month. So not a ton of progress. But I'll get there. Once I finish this sweater,
Yeah, I was gonna
that'll
say,
be like
you've
my
really
only thing on the needles.
powered through that sweater, so.
And that is it for me. What are you working on, Amy?
Okay, so...
You must address her by her proper title.
Don't you know who I am? I am working on an improvised cowl. I wanted to cast on something that would be good plain knitting because it's about 14 hours of planes and airports between my house between the airport and the airport here. That's how travelling works. So I cast on an improvised pattern. I did a provisional cast on with this super fun neon yarn that you probably can't see because you have to bear in mind I've got very bad eyesight. I'm very far away. I have no idea what's happening.
She's just holding it in the direction, the general area.
Yeah. So, there you go.
I can see it because I can see it on the screen.
Laura can see it and she's blind too, so we're good to go. So I cast on maybe 100 or so stitches using a US size 4, which is a 3.5mm Licker short circular, and I am using... all my words are falling out of my mouth in the wrong order. I haven't podcasted in 2 weeks, and oh my goodness, it shows. So I used some yarn I picked up at Rhinebeck, which is a gradient mini skein set from Canon Hand Dyes, and you get maybe 20 yards of each colour. So I've wound it all into a fun kind of gobstopper ball, because winding this with the ball winder was not happening. And I'm alternating each colour with an undyed merino yak nylon blend. So it's the same base that I am using for the Fall Rainbow from Canon Hand Dyes. And yeah, merino yak nylon. So it's got a little bit of a grey, kind of silvery greyish brown colour because of the yak.
And you're just tucking the ends in.
And yeah, all I'm doing is tying knots in the ends. So there's tons and tons of ends on the inside. But when this is finished, and I'm hoping, I'm not quite halfway done with the colours yet. I've got another yellow stripe to go. And pulled all my stitches off the needles.
Oh no!
Well, I say all, I mean two. You know, I like to exaggerate.
We call that hyperbole here.
Ah,
We
okay.
use fancy words.
Look at you Americans. Goodness me, and your, what do you call it? Renting a car, not hiring a car.
No, we don't hire
They
a
don't-
car.
they don't- I learned that. They don't hire cars in America. They also don't use egg cups here.
I don't even
know.
understand what that is for. The idea of eating a squishy egg, just
It's not squishy.
aren't they soft boiled?
Well, yeah, they are, but the shells aren't squishy.
Ugh.
Okay.
We're moving on.
Moving on. So it's about halfway done. So there'll be another half. I'm hoping to get a good 2 loops wrap around. Then I'll kitchen at the ends together. So none of these, I'll trim these ends, but none of them will need to be woven in.
Cool.
Which is great because I'm really lazy. So that is the first thing on my needles. And that is living in an Amy Beth bag that I picked up from SSK a couple of years ago. It's got kittens with socks and scarves on.
Kittens with mittens.
So, what else? What else?
You have a sweater somewhere.
A
Yes,
giant,
I
mostly
do.
finished sweater.
Another bit of plain knitting I decided to cast on.
Now, what bag is this?
This
is
bag-
a super cool bag.
This
Don't
bag.
talk about it, then I'll never get
Well,
one.
to be from, well, you might. I've got connections. This is, it's all folded over and bunched up. This is from Hide and Hammer, and Hide and Hammer is a UK-based bag company that my friend Fanula owns and runs, and she is fabulous. So this is the 03 style bag in a mustard yellow canvas. It has a roll top, so you can fit a sweater. There's loads of other space in here. I could probably fit another project in here if I had to.
I will include a link because otherwise we will just get a lot of people asking us.
Oh, yeah. My sweater. Let's get the ball of the yarn out.
Yep. Oh god, what is that?
Who is he?
I don't know.
I feel like that's
You
not
spelt
the right thing.
hide is spelt normal, like a normal,
okay.
like
Sorry.
hide and seek hide.
I was trying to be British.
There you go, top option.
We went to somewhere very different.
We did.
I'm not opposed to that very
No,
different
I'm not
place.
either, but alright.
Man in a snazzy parka jacket.
Let's see.
You can keep talking. Leslie can type
Yeah.
and you can talk at the same
Okay,
time.
see, I'm not used to this. I record on my own in a room, so I'll cast on a sweater. This is the Fern and Feather sweater by Jennifer Steingass, and I am knitting this out of Holst Super Soft, held double. Holst Super Soft is a really fine, light fingering weight yarn. I have a ball of it right here. It is from Holst Garn, who are a Danish company. They're a company based in Denmark, and it is 100% wool. It comes in loads of different colours, and it's super affordable. It's like £2 something a ball. I don't know, maybe $2.75 in US money. This is the Jasper colourway. I'm double stranding it because this is a worsted weight sweater. So the burgundy is Jasper, and the kind of creamy neutral colour is Pussy Willow. And it's a top-down yoke. I cast it on maybe 2 weeks ago-ish, and I have finished the body and the first sleeve.
And you
the
had to reknit that sleeve
Yeah.
too.
I never pay attention to the pattern when I'm doing sleeves because I like them to fit my arms quite nicely, so I'll just start and then do decreases kind of evenly until I feel like they're fitted enough. And I did that with this one, and I did about maybe 4 inches without doing any decreases, and then thought, okay, well I need to bring it in a little bit because I don't want giant wizard sleeves for my cuffs. So,
Wizard sleeves would be terrible. It would also be a great name for this podcast.
so I then I did more decreases, and it looked like I'd done loads of increases. I don't know what was going on. I had this giant like sleeve puff happening, and nobody needs bell sleeves either, so I frogged it back, and so I've knit maybe 2.5 sleeves for my 2.5 arms. So this is the second sleeve. I have 1 decrease left to go, and then a ribbed cuff and some ends to weave in, and I will have a finished sweater.
Woohoo!
Which is quite exciting. So this will be my 4th finished sweater this year, because I don't have a social life. I have lots of sweaters instead.
And you were saying, like, with this yarn, you want to make sure to wash your swatch, because it's got spinning oil in it?
It has got spinning oil in it. It's great yarn. I really like it, and it's super affordable, but it does have spinning oil in it. It feels a little bit crunchy when you're working with it, but it softens up wonderfully when you block it. I will also be grabbing a colour catcher or 2, because I'm not sure how much the burgundy is going to bleed colour. Because the sweater I'm wearing is also knit out of whole super soft, and the water when I blocked that was super grey. So I don't know how much of that was colour and how much of it was spinning oil. But I don't really want to lose all the colour work.
I think that's a good plan.
I have lived vicariously through other people's mistakes, and I will be putting colour catchers in with it. So that's that. And I have one more project somewhere down here.
I haven't even seen this project.
That's because I haven't worked on it at all since I got here.
Look at your little cat bag.
Showing off. I have a little cat. This is from a UK-based bag maker called The Little Grey Girl, and I really like it because I can put it on my wrist and then I can knit walking around.
Oh, cute.
So I'm on a second sock. This is also SSK yarn. Oh, the stitches have fallen off the needles.
Super bright.
Yes. You can tell I've picked it up recently. I'll show you the first sock, the finished sock. So this
pretty.
is Martian Rainbow. The striping is Martian Rainbow from Mustache Yarns. It was, I think it might be her Ritz base. It's the one that's got sparkle in it.
I think that's Ritz.
I think that's Ritz. It's a top-down sock, sort of improvised, and I did a heel flap and gusset, which I almost never do with my self-striping socks, because one thing I am super kind of I have a complex about is keeping my stripes correct on my self-striping socks. I don't care if they match each other, which these ones will because they were designed to match.
Yeah.
Mustache Dye is like must match sock
Oh,
sets.
CDs.
Yeah.
I think
She switched it.
Oh,
It's
did she?
must match now.
Oh, okay.
So these will match. They have contrasting heels, toes and cuffs from West Yorkshire Spinners. I can't remember the name of the grey, but it's just their generic grey colour. It's their signature 4-ply. So that's that one. The second one has seen a tiny bit of work. I cast this on to knit at a wedding reception, but I was only at the wedding reception for about an hour because my mum phoned me to tell me I had to come back because my dad had had an allergic reaction to something and his face had swollen up. So I had to leave. So almost no. And I was also going to knit on this when I went to see My Dad Wrote a Porno live, but I already felt a little bit awkward as I was pretty much the only one there on their own, which is fine. I don't mind that at all, but I didn't really want to draw unnecessary attention to myself. Also, it was really funny and I was busy laughing. So that is that. That is everything that I have been knitting on or not knitting on.
All the things.
All of the things. What about you? What have you been doing?
You got it, Sicky?
I think so. Sorry. I'm trying to cough away from the microphone. But
And me, more importantly.
Also true.
it's miserable enough. I don't want Amy to catch this while she's traveling. Like, that would be terrible. So I've really only been knitting on one thing. Ugh.
Do you want me to talk about it?
No, it's okay.
Do you need...
So this is Go With the Flow. It is a brioche wrap. It's very hard to conceptualize it because I don't have the printed pattern because it's the same row over and over and over for the rest of your life, it seems like. But this is where I was last week. I had just cast on the other half. So the way that this sits is it goes in the back here, and then this comes down in the front, and then you join the back to the front and you do some ribbing. It stretches because of the weight of it, pulls it. I have to knit another 10 inches from this stitch marker. It's hard to
So
see
maybe
that. Another
7.
Yeah, 7-ish. I'm really digging this yarn. This is actually stranded yarn in the flower crown
Can I help
color. So it's got little pops of like purples and teals and orange, and it just makes me very happy. And this is in the Merino DK base, and it's super squishy.
I'm glad you like it.
Makes me
It would have been
very
very
happy.
embarrassing if you sat down and say how much you hated it.
Without giving you any warning.
Yeah.
I'm knitting this on a US 7, which is, I don't remember, 4.5 millimeter. It's very brainless, which is good because I've kind of needed that this week. I have knit about 10 rows on this sock, so it totally is going in the rotation here. This is my Knit Spin Farm. This is like her unusual holidays.
Yep.
And this was something to do with nachos. It had like guacamole and chips and something to do with nachos.
Nacho day or something?
I don't remember. But I think I'm doing vanilla latte is the pattern. It's just you do a slipped stitch every other stitch at the color change. So it just gives it a little interest. I have to do one more row and then I start toe decreases. So, but like my socks are so dense. They're so tightly knit.
Oh, wow.
And Laura's are not. Laura's are, more. I don't mean that negatively. I just mean it's a
why
gauge
you gotta be
thing.
putting my name out in the street?
But
They're really nice, though.
they're like bulletproof.
They
They're
are going
very,
to wear like iron.
when I knit for myself. So we'll see.
Amazing.
I mean, I really enjoy the yarn and I like the colors, and I just haven't knit with it. That's there's no reason. I'm
Well,
just
you've been sick too, though. So.
yeah. Still, let's see. You talked. The international treasure and peer of the realm, Lady Amy talked.
Oh, I finished something crocheted.
You did. So our most recent fail along was crochet cord covers.
I don't know what went. There it is.
And we picked it because Laura, like, historically has really not loved crochet.
I've struggled with it. I've taken numerous classes and not been successful. So this was just basically chaining around a cord.
You did a single crochet around the cord.
So I've chained before, but now I know how to single crochet. Well, I've forgotten now. But I did for a very short period of time.
And you even put it down and picked it up the next day.
I did.
To finish it. I was very impressed.
Mainly because I wanted the toy in the middle of my ball of yarn. So Amy gifted me an advent calendar, and I love Kinder Eggs. I especially love the toys in Kinder Eggs. They make me super happy. And she had wrapped all my yarn for my advent calendar around Kinder Egg toy things. So I wanted to see what it was. And I think it was it one of the Despicable Me's? No, it was a race car.
It was a race car.
It was a Hot Wheels race car, which is very fancy. Do you remember what this yarn is?
No. Oh, you weren't asking me.
Oh.
I'm not used to there being another person to answer stuff.
It was yarn I picked up at a farmer's market.
Okay.
So I don't know the name of the dyer, but it's just a stellina.
Yeah.
Merino nylon stellina.
It's pretty.
So the answer to that is no, she doesn't.
Pretty short answer, no.
But I want to do this. I have, near my bedside, I have my charger for my watch, my charger for my Kindle, and my charger for my iPhone. And the iPhone and the Kindle charger are the same color. They're very similar. They're all white cords. So I want to do this again with some of those cords so I can easily pick up and see.
You could do it in a heavier weight and it would go much faster.
Yeah, this wasn't that bad, though. I think I did it in, like,
You could
2
hold
hours,
it double or
3
something.
hours.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this weight. And now I have crochet hooks, too.
You do.
So I might have you help me get started again, so I
no
can
problem.
remember stuff. But yeah, so I crocheted, and this is my only finished object for the week, because I'm very fancy. I also have no spinning this week. But Amy has a finished object and spinning, so I'm going to let
Laura
her
has a
talk
lot of
next.
spinning. There's just none of it's
Yeah.
finished. She's worked on bits and bobs here and there.
Yep, that's true.
Okay. This is a TheKnitGirll's exclusive. It looks very flattering when I'm hunched over. Oh my
I love
goodness.
it. No, it looks good. You've been wearing it a lot.
I
this
love
trip.
it, and I will be making more. This is the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry. The last sweater I finished had loads of problems with it, so I thought, okay, the next one I'm going to cast on is one that 3,000 other people have already knit, so there were no problems at all. I'm not going to stand up because I'm lazy. But it's knit out of whole super soft, so it's the same yarn that I was using for the sweater I showed earlier. and I used the graphite colourway and the slate grey colourway.
So you held them doubled
Held
again.
them doubled because it's designed to be knit out of Shelter by Brooklyn Tweed. It's covered in bits of fluff.
It looks a little bit marled.
Yeah. Yeah. I love marled yarn, so I just decided I'd marl my own with 2 shades of grey, so they're pretty similar, but there's enough of a difference to kind of make it look a bit more interesting. Body is reverse stockinette, sleeves are stockinette, there's like an intentional slip stitch faux seam down the front, and a kind of slashed neck, and it's super wearable.
So did you knit the body inside out? Okay.
Yes.
That makes
She
sense.
has you do that in the pattern as well because she's a clever clogs. Yep, super wearable. I will be making 1, if not 2 more of these from yarn.
Would you
that I
use
have in my
the same
stash.
yarn?
Probably yes, actually, but I don't have any more. I don't have enough to make one with stashed yarn, and I'm trying to work through some stash before I get any more sweater quantities.
Amy's been very good about working through her stash, not adding to her stash.
I haven't bought yarn yet this year. I bought a little bit of fibre at a show I vended at a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't bought any yarn yet. That doesn't mean I'm not bringing any home from the US, because I might have bought quite a lot last year. But
and then had it shipped to me.
yeah, my mules and PO boxes, you know.
Laura would get excited every time, and she'd be like, "Oh, this isn't mine."
Yeah. CO, Lady Amy.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Next time you can, because there probably will be a next time.
It probably helped contribute to my mail person telling me that she was going to tell me what her husband tells her, and that I need to stop buying things online because I get too many packages.
I feel like your mail person needs to stop being so judgy.
I know.
Maybe look for other employment if they're going to be that judgy. I don't know.
I love my mail people. I have no complaints.
I think my mailman
This is the only
got
time that I've
fired.
had an issue. Like,
I don't
for
know.
the most part.
You've had one guy who threw a package at your door.
Oh, I did. And I've had them, like, yesterday, the wrong packages were delivered to my house, which probably also leads to the belief that I'm getting more mail than I am, because I get packages from one street over, has the same street number as me, and she puts packages for them in my box quite frequently. But Pearl and I just walk it back to the other people and put it in their box when we go for our walk.
You're a nice neighbourly person.
Well, they do the same for me, so.
Okay. I'm worried about your post person's credentials.
Aw.
Okay.
And then, you don't have any finished objects, right? Would you like to speak about your spinning, and then we could go back to Amy, or do you want Amy to go first?
You go ahead.
Okay. Let me put my Diet Coke down. Now my spinning is
The
buried
novelty
under
of
here.
being able to drink and knit while you record a podcast.
It's amazing. Oh my
It's so
goodness.
much easier when you can just like give somebody the look. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you talk now.
Yeah, it's great. And knowing the fact I'm not going to have to spend 2 hours editing this when we're done is great. Okay, I have 4 skeins of handspun
Super cute.
to share.
She's been spinning a lot, and she's almost finished a sweater.
Yeah, no slacking for me. I did have a really long flight, which I didn't really knit on actually, because it was essentially a night flight. For some obscene reason, American Airlines decided they were going to dim all of the lights in the cabin, even though we left UK time at 9 a.m. So, yeah, whatever. 4 skeins of yarn, hooray! First up, this is some hip strings. This is the blend that came with the SSK goodie bags last year. It's the Oasis colourway. It's got a mixture of merino. I think there might be a little bit of silk, some stellina, and there's something else in here. It might just be superwash merino.
Or BFL.
Or BFL, or maybe both. I don't know.
I can't remember either.
But it's super pretty, and I spun this on the novelty of staying at Laura's house is she has a couple of spinning wheels that I could borrow while I was visiting.
It's true, and try out.
Yeah, which is really fun because I have a matchless. I absolutely love it at home, but I don't have that kind of access to loads of different wheels, and a lot of the wheels and the equipment that I buy comes from the US, so you can't really try before you buy. So I spun the singles of this on the Daedalus Starling, the larger of the Starlings.
Yeah, it's like
right?
XL or something.
Yeah.
And we got that wheel to review.
Yeah,
So
we're just waiting on a foot pedal, and they're replacing a bushing in the back as well. So the review is coming, but having input from other people is always helpful.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, I quite liked it. It's the first time I've spun a project on any e-spinner. I've tested out the handspun mini spinner before at SSK, but this was the first time I spun a considerable amount of 5 ounces of singles.
So what did you like about it?
How quiet it was. It's
it is very
so quiet. And I never thought noise would really bother me about an e-spinner, but it's so silent. If you have sound issues, or if you like to spin in front of the TV with other people in the room, you wouldn't have to do anything like adjust the volume or anything. It's super quiet. It's also super lightweight as well, which I don't know if that's
like 2 pounds.
Yeah, which is the only problem I had with it. I don't want to spoil your review, but you guys are more articulate than me. Was threading the orifice hook was a little bit of a tricky thing for me to do. But yeah, I spun 5 ounces of singles on that wheel, and then I plied it on the handspun mini spinner with the woolly winder flyer, and it's a chain ply, so it's a non-traditional 3-ply, and I got 494 yards, which I'm pretty happy about. No idea what it's going to grow up to be. It's been washed and set. Yeah, I quite like it. This might be woven, I don't know.
That would be very pretty woven.
If it's going to be woven, it probably won't be woven by me. It'll be woven by my mum. So that's the first skein. I have 2 skeins of core spinning, and I've never done core spinning before, but I really wanted to try it. So this was spun over a mohair core using the Lendrum upright. Was it the Lendrum?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was.
We started on the Spinolution King Bee, but I've never spun on a Spinolution before, and they have a different
treadling motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I kept going back on myself, and trying to learn 2 new things at once is too much for my brain. So the first one is spun out of, they're both spun out of some hand-dyed bats that I carded. I dyed up some of my leftover fibre that was too short or too light to weight-wise to sell in my shop, so I dyed it up and brought it out to card. So the first one is some kind of turquoise with little pops of sparkle, and there's some Wensleydale in here as well. It's a big mix of Shetland and Merino Polworth, Superwash Merino Nylon, and BFL Silk. So it's kind of fun. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you carded it on a Clemis and Clemis electric carder,
which is super fancy. I've been in the US staying with these 2 ladies for a week. I've already ordered myself an e-spinner. Spoiler alert. I bought tickets to go and see Bianca Del Rio play Wembley in the UK later in the year, and I did stop myself from buying one of these carders because
it is a big investment.
It's an investment purchase.
It is.
And I imagine, I didn't pick yours up, but it's quite heavy. And
oh yeah, it's like at least probably 20 pounds.
Yeah, so getting that to the UK, a bit hefty. But it's fun. I really enjoyed it. I will definitely be doing more core spinning when I get home. The second one is one that I really like because I love grey. So again, this is a hand-dyed bat that I carded on the Clemis and Clemis carder with pops of rainbow going through it, which was really fun.
Yeah, I actually really like that, so I'm going to show that.
The rest of your
She didn't like the others.
The rest of your
that
stuff,
one,
no.
No, I like that it's
but this one,
primarily solid with like pops of color.
Yeah.
It makes me happy. Like, I'm just thinking about weaving with it. Like, it would be really pretty to
if you want to weave with it,
to do like a curtain, you know, and then have like the pops of color to make it look kind of
You can do that
plaidish.
yourself with your fleece.
Yeah.
We have a dark gray fleece.
Oh yeah, no, I have plenty to make with it. I wouldn't have thought to do that.
I think did you put the pops of color by putting it directly on
Yes.
the drum?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So she painted on the drum versus feeding it through.
which was really fun. And I tried to organise it so I had the same rainbow colours going across the drum all the way through the bat. So the yellow was on one side and it went through green and blue and pink and purple. And then I split it when I spun it, so it starts off being grey, mild with yellow, and again all the way through down to purple. So
Very cool.
it's kind of fun. I really enjoyed playing with colour in a completely different way, because normally I get to dye stuff, but I don't get to card things. So that was really fun. And then I didn't measure the yardage on this one because I got carried away watching some nonsense television that I'm now addicted to. But I got about 102 yards of a core spun of this one. And lastly, I have a tiny little skein. And again, this is a bat that I carded. This is a 2-ply. I spun the singles for this using the electric eel. Does it have a fancy number or anything?
It's 5.2.
one of those, an electric eel 5.2. Yeah, 2-plied. I think I plied this on the handspun as well. I got 134 yards. Pretty happy with
And
that.
you still have some more to ply off.
Yeah, I might Andean ply that. Which I've never tried to do before, but this is a week for learning new things.
We're totally gonna do it.
Okay. Laura's the boss of me.
Always. Everyone.
True. So yeah, 4 skeins of handspun, which is pretty good going, I think.
Yeah.
Just kept me out of trouble. So, hooray! All the handspun.
I put on Instagram that if you come to Shea Lala, you have to go to the zoo with me. You also have to try new fiber skills. That's like the 2 rules.
Shea Lala Resort is top notch. Top notch.
Ridiculousness.
Oh my. I enabled you guys into buying something though this week. I know that's not in the show notes, so maybe we should.
What did we buy?
Really?
Laura.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Like, this is a purchase you're gonna forget?
Laura's over it.
So, after having, I don't even remember what I had before.
Leslie had a sock machine.
Yeah, I want to say it was an old Erlbacher Gearhart, but I can't say for sure. I sold it to
Joe.
Joe Sock Monster, who lives in the Nashville area.
Because you got very frustrated. It wasn't doing what you
did.
wanted it to do.
Because I don't usually get upset if I'm not great at something right away. But I feel like I tried this making a sock on a sock machine.
And this was when you were in Jersey.
Right, so I had nobody to bounce things off of. Plus, at that point, I wasn't willing to just knit a tube and then cut it and make a heel and a toe. And now I am. Now I'm at that point where I've looked at my stash and I'm like, this is unsustainable. I've got to do something about it. And maybe at some point I'll worry about doing heels. It just takes a lot more attention.
Have you done heels on yours?
Yes. Yeah, I've got the heels to the point where I really they look fine, but they just don't quite fit my feet right. So I need to work out. It's basically doing a short row heel, like if you're going to do a normal short row. I need to do it so it's more than 50%, so it cups my foot a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I haven't had the
I
brain
really like
space
60%
Yes.
on short row heels.
That's what I used to do when I used to do short row heels. So I think I'm gonna try that. Just need to do some maths and have some brain space.
So we got an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster.
Correct.
It's red.
It's gonna live at Leslie's house.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I mean, it can. I figured you would want it here.
I don't want anything else here, honestly. But
It can come live at my house.
it'll be like 2 months before we get it because they have a backlog, which is great. But yeah.
And they're close enough to drive to, so if we have a serious issue where it has to be returned, we could drive to
You
them.
shouldn't have a serious issue. The learning curve is quite steep, but
Like return to be fixed, not returned.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. We'll see.
But we have Amy,
Yeah.
who will be here for SSK that we can say, this is not
Amy,
working.
who is never leaving, just gonna stay here.
That would be okay with me.
I did say that you need to prepare yourself to answer the what circular sock machine question do you have from now until the rest of your life. I have it on 2 different t-shirts that people make me, and I still get asked it at least twice a week. So
That's fine.
you know, it's fun. It's a talking point.
It is. It's a good way to meet new people.
It is.
So yeah, we have a sock machine coming, so that'll be exciting. And yeah, I totally forgot about that purchase.
Clearly.
That's not
I
Laura
didn't
who
make it.
handles the
Leslie
money.
actually put it through, so
I do have some spinning, shockingly.
Oh yeah, I forgot about your spinning. I'm sorry, Leslie. I would have
It's okay.
not have diverted you.
At Laura's this week. I haven't been over there every day because I still can barely talk, but I finally am close to feeling human again. But I wanted to practice some long draw spinning, and so I spun I think it was like 3.25 ounces bat on Laura's Saxony.
Shocked Reeves 30 inch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was, it was beautiful, and I enjoy spinning on it.
My favorite wheel. Don't tell the other
Don't tell the ladybug.
That's my side. Well, they bounce back and forth depending on what I'm doing.
Yesterday, I'm pretty sure the ladybug was your favorite.
Because I was doing something that was not woolen.
Okay.
But if I was doing woolen, the chartreuse would be my favorite.
Yeah, I wanted to spin woolen long draw so that I could have more air in the yarn. It would be lighter. And
bats are a woolen prep anyways.
Yes. So this is a Knitspin Farm Imposing Shadow, I think is the colorway.
This is a club bat.
Yes, and it's been Farm Imposing Shadow. Yes. So I somehow managed to get over 500 yards out of 3 ounces, which is a personal best for me.
You were working on it,
for a long time.
Quite a long time.
Yeah. I mean, and it's still uneven in sections and
But that's what woolen spinning is.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be, it's not going to look like a commercial skein, which is fine. But it gives me a little hope because I want to spin at least a couple of my fleeces woolen. Mm-hmm. And it gives me hope on yardage that I could get for weight. So, yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's very light. Amy wound it off for me because I left after plying yesterday. And
it's had its bath.
Oh, has it?
Yep.
Wow.
It dried within 30 minutes.
Yeah, being mostly air, yeah. That's awesome, though. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Pretty.
I'm happy with it.
Do you have a plan for it?
Well, right now, everything I finish, I want to weave with.
Yeah.
Because I'm just in that headspace right now. But this wouldn't be great as a warp yarn.
It would not work at all as a warp yarn. Yeah.
So
you could use it as your
weft. I could.
Or you can knit with it.
Yeah, I could do either. I don't know. It'll get put with my other loved handspun, and I'll decide what to do with it. I don't know yet.
I want to knit one of the Kirsten Kapoor
Dwayne Park
triangles out of some handspun. I did one out of handspun previous and gave it to Joanna Spring actually.
Yeah.
Because it was out of her fiber and Lester long wool. From when I went to Knitting Pipeline. So I would like to do that again. And that, I think woolen would be really, really nice for that.
Yeah.
Be super drapey.
Yeah.
There's also, that might be too late. You'd have to hold a double, but there's a new hat by, I can picture her Ravatar.
The Brioche one you downloaded?
Yeah, I got a new.
Yes,
I got a new Brioche hat. That's uses 2 colors. It's really, really pretty, and it's on sale right now until the 20th. And I can't remember the name, and I don't have my phone, but it's the same lady who did the jelly roll.
She
not
just
jelly
said
roll. Yeah.
It's Mara Catherine. Do you want me to look up the name for the name of the patent?
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
I'll look it up. It's Mara Catherine Briner is the designer.
Orange knit? Is it orange knits?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're upsetting the delicate balance of shit that's stuff that's behind you.
She's the one who did the Rose City rollers. I said jelly rollers, but that's not what it is.
She also did some jelly roll socks though.
Okay.
So you're in the right ballpark. Skip hop hat.
Yes. It's super cute. Show Leslie if you don't mind.
That's not the best picture of it. It's Brioche.
Show them.
Gosh. I don't know how well you can see that. There we go. It's as good as it gets.
Excuse me. Let's see. What else?
Reading.
Wow, you did all that without even looking at your show notes. I'm so impressed with you, Amy.
Told you I was a pro in
Lady
show
Amy.
notes. No.
For books, I have been listening to Black Dog Blues by Reese Ford. It's sort of
everything is
an avalanche of stuff everywhere.
It's sort of
it's gonna go again. I'm just waiting for
fantasy-ish crime novel. It's got elven and human, and I mean it's interesting so far. I like the author Reese Ford, who I've read pretty much everything she's written. And I am rereading Sin and Chocolate.
Oh, the new one comes out next week.
Yeah. So this is by K.F. Breen. I don't remember if it's Sin and Chocolate or Sin and Magic, whichever the second one is.
Sin and Magic is the second one, I believe.
That's the one I'm rereading because the new book in that series comes out next week.
That's actually a really good plan.
So,
I might do that as well.
It's a Kindle Unlimited, so. Amy's reading a book that she's just so in love with.
So it's an audiobook, and it's for my friend Irene's book club that I have joined. And it's called The Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. And unlike you guys, I am not super into fantasy novels. Right. I am more of a crime novel type person.
I think they made that into a TV show.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a trilogy. Probably not going to be reading the second and third in the trilogy. But it's 24 hours of audio, and I am a good 16 hours in. I've got to the end of the month to finish it, although I have been told I don't have to finish it. It's not the law.
So what's happened, like...
Well, the first bit was really interesting. It's set in Oxford, which is in the UK.
Right, no, but what part are you at?
Oh.
Like, what's just happened?
I don't...
Are you going to create spoilers?
Hashtag spoiler alert. Okay, so there was a lot of... The first bit was kind of captivating and interesting. I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was about 5 hours of just horse riding in the French countryside.
I feel like this is like your Outlander synopsises.
Yeah. And now, then, like, I was getting a little bit bored, and I thought I did something I never do, which was I skipped sort of ahead by, like, 30-second increments.
Oh.
Only for, like, maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
Nothing had been happening. And
I tend to hit the, like, double time.
Yeah, I should have done that. I didn't, but...
Or 1.5, I think, is ideal. When you want to get through something quicker,
yeah,
but you still don't want, like, zzz noise.
So I think I will probably do that for the rest of the book. But I was just casually skipping through, and I completely skipped over a kidnapping.
Yes, that was what I was going to ask, whether that had happened
Completely skipped over that, and I was like, oh, a kidnapping has happened in 2 minutes. After 5 hours of nothing, there was a kidnapping. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's getting interesting. And I listened to about 5 minutes after that, and I was like, this is the most underwhelming kidnapping ever. I have to take a break. I will go back to it. We'll see if I get it finished.
You do have, like, a crazy long flight.
I do.
So.
Yeah, I've got enough flight hours to finish the book.
Yeah, but sometimes on those long flights, you're like, I'm already miserable. I don't want to add to that by doing something I feel obligated to do, you know?
And it's not a bad book. It's very descriptive. It is. I've only read one of the Outlander books, but it does have that kind of descriptive feel to it. And it's, yeah, we'll see.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember when he was like, I'm thinking, I want to make sure I'm in the right book. Yes, so when he's, like, wooing her and he takes her to the school or whatever where he's got the underground wine cellar and they spend, like, an hour talking about wine.
It's a lot of wine chat.
Yeah.
And I'm a non-drinker.
I don't care. I mean, I like wine, fine, but good gracious.
So there was, a lot of wine chat, a lot of horse riding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started off being really impressed with all the research she'd done about Oxford because, someone I dated once worked in a very similar field to the field that the main character was studying, so I got quite a lot of the references. But yeah, I don't need so much context. But we'll see. Maybe we'll finish it.
I'm not reading.
You're not. I'll keep going then. So actual reading, I finished reading The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas.
Such a good book.
Which I've been meaning to read since Laura recommended it.
Highly recommend.
Don't even know how many years ago.
Ooh, so it hit 2 years. It came out 2 years ago. So
I've had it on my Kindle for a while.
Been floating between number 1 and number 2 on the New York Times bestseller list for 2 years straight.
Wow.
Like
That's
over
amazing.
100 weeks.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Great for Angie.
And she did a great interview on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, and they discussed like how she just released a second book on the come up, which Amy's going to talk about in a second, and how she's like, let your little sister get up there too, because they've been like floating between 1 and 2. They've been flipping back and forth. But she just did a book tour for On the Come Up in the UK and in the US before going to the UK. And now that book tour is over. I think she's going to be speaking at the Jackson, Mississippi Civil Rights Museum maybe in a couple weeks. But Angie's fabulous, and she's a really great author, but also a great human being.
It was an amazing book. I was coming at it from a completely different perspective as a British white woman. We don't have the level it was very different from my experiences, and I really, really enjoyed it. It made me cry about 4 times in the first 3 chapters. Doesn't take much to make me cry.
So my favorite part of that book in the first couple chapters is when she's talking to him and he mistreats his shoes and his shoes get dirty, and she tells him, every time you scrub at a shoe, kittens die. And that's my favorite part of that first chapter, where you're first getting a feel for the characters and who they are. So
the sense of family is amazing in that book as well.
Yes,
really
I would agree with that.
So I finished that on the plane, and I'd already downloaded on the come up to my iPad, so I thought, okay, well, I'll read that. And I've started it. I'm maybe about 8 chapters in. It's the same world, the same neighborhood as The Hate You Give. I think it's set about a year later with different main characters.
Yep. You see some of the same places, so the setting's the same for the most part, just after the events of The Hate You Give.
Yeah, still in Garden Heights?
Yes, which is based off of Jackson, Mississippi to some degree.
I didn't know Angie was from Mississippi when I was reading the first one.
She's from Jackson. Yeah. She's thinking about moving away, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, as of right now, she lives in Jackson, Mississippi. That's where she was raised.
So really enjoying it so far. I will probably finish that on the plane home tomorrow. And that's I'm reading some other stuff, but it's too trashy to talk about. So that's all I'm reading.
I've just been busy hanging out with Amy, so I haven't had much reading time.
Yeah, I did all my reading on the plane. I haven't been sitting in the same room as Laura, completely ignoring her while reading.
Excuse me.
That's, I think, about it. We've been watching RuPaul. We didn't, we had a watching party on Ravelry a couple weeks ago.
It was the day before Amy got
for the new season. I guess so, 2 weeks ago.
Missed that. Gee.
And, we didn't do it this week because Amy was here. And we'll probably get back into that maybe next week. It depends if we watch it live. But anyone's welcome to start a chat in our KnitGirlls Ravelry group. There is on the sidebar where you can
enter the chat room.
Yeah, and you're welcome. It airs Thursday nights at 7 our time, maybe
check
8
your local
Eastern.
listings.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
So.
And then Untucked airs right after it.
Yep.
So that's
Untucked
good.
is the backstage kind of stuff. We are going to do Clothing Conservation Month in April, where I need to depill a lot of my socks and wash my sweaters before putting them away, and do a fair amount of mending on some stuff, both commercial and non-commercial.
Yeah, I got a couple of socks that need mending. I need to pull out and fix the sleeves on one of my sweaters. I think I've got a pair of jeans that needs a whole mend.
And you can also do finishing on stuff that you finished. If you just need to cut a steek in a sweater, that would be a good time to do that before the season.
Yeah.
While you're about to put stuff away.
Does blocking count for that? I have a sweater that I finished and haven't blocked yet.
I think blocking could totally count for that. We're very loosey-goosey with the things that we do. We're not rule followers, surprisingly. And so we don't create a lot of rules, with the exception being // The // dates are in the Ravelry group. They're listed, it's the end of May until August sometime. But I put them up the first week in January, I feel so that we would be prepared. // is an annual knit along that we do that lasts 3 months. It's a little bit crazy, but we have a lot of good fun with it, and Amy's gonna do it. We're gonna make her do it. She took a break last year.
No, I did not. I was going to take a break
last year.
But I hit 20k. I don't think we call that taking a break.
That was such a humble brag. I only hit 20.
Was.
20k.
2 weeks, a week of hanging out with Laura, all about the humble brag.
So that's going to be happening again, and we'll give more details closer to May, because I have to get through testing season before I can even think about that. My school starts testing April 15th and should finish around May 15th.
And that's
so
the
that'll
tax
be good.
Deadline.
I know, I need to do my taxes.
So much fun all at once.
Yeah, all the fun. Yeah, so I started doing my taxes on TurboTax and then kind of put them aside. So I need to get back to it.
I have to give Michael the so because the KnitGirlls is technically a company, because it's better financially to do that.
It's an LLC.
Since we run SSK and that money can be protected and all that. So every year we have to get an extra form from the company.
Yes.
Taxes. So the company
Because we're
taxes have to be
business
filed.
owners. We're super fancy. Everyone in this room is a business owner. Look at that.
Hey.
I that thing I sent you for your form, I got to do that for mine.
Yeah.
A K1.
Yep, which kept me from using the free version of TurboTax. I have to pay the $115 for the paid version.
That's what we usually do, TurboTax.
Yeah.
Too.
I've already filed my taxes because in the UK you have to get them done by the end of January.
Oh.
Because our tax year is bonkers. And the tax year runs from the beginning of April to the end of March. No idea why.
That was an odd fiscal year.
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Anyway, I think that's all that we have to discuss.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I can't think of anything because I can barely talk as it is.
Okay, well, it's been fun, and we will see y'all next week.
If you
Probably pretty soon.
Yeah. If you
2 days.
have no idea who this lady is, you can check her out on her own podcast, the Stranded Podcast. She's also a yarn dyer.
Yes.
A peer of the realm.
Somebody sent me a message on Ravelry and asked if I genuinely had a title. So,
That is not true. That is all made up by
Sadly,
Leslie.
that's not true. I don't know how it started. Leslie started it. I don't know how it started.
I bet that you could get immigrated pretty quickly, though, if you did have a title.
Challenge accepted. Me and the Queen.
But anyway, yes. So if you're new and you don't know who Amy is, you should definitely check her out. She does a weekly podcast that is much more polished than ours.
That's true.
Because she cares about how she presents herself.
That's not true.
But
But thank you very much for having me. It's been an
of
honour.
course, it's the less time that we have to talk.
Years. There we go.
Also, Amy will be attending SSK, but she is not vending this year.
Yes, a few people have sent me messages about that. Haven't actually talked about it yet. I will talk about it, but I'm not vending this year because these two didn't want me to vend.
Nope, we told her we didn't like her stuff.
No, it just makes it...
It's challenging to do it internationally, so,
for
and
sure.
I understand that.
And laws are constantly changing in regards to that,
So much paperwork, so little time.
Yeah.
But you are doing a trunk show at House of Yarn.
I am doing a trunk show at House of Yarn. If you're coming into town for SSK, I don't
Or
know.
if you live in Nashville.
Yeah, people live in Nashville. Sadly not me.
I hear it's the city.
People do. If you are local to Nashville or you're coming into town early for SSK, I don't have the dates for that in my brain, but the weekend before that I will be doing a trunk show / meet and greet type thing.
July 13th.
Thanks.
I think.
You're fancy.
SSK starts on the
Well,
17th.
around about that sort of time, I will be in House of Yarn, which is a fabulous yarn shop in Nashville, Tennessee, and you should be able to get my yarn there throughout that week until the weekend. So, there you go.
Cool. Well, you guys have a lovely week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye!